Welcome back to Trans Trans playing...
One Tran playing, one Tran winning, the other Tran doing voices.
That's 3 Trans.
No, I'm the Tran winning and playing, and you're the Tran doing voices.
Alright, well, how about you give the name of the game already?
It's... Little Lily Princess? A Lily Princess?
A Little Lily Princess.
A little Lily Princess.
Right. So you'll notice that we started off with no music in the game. There have been some content ID issues. So I'm going to go ahead and no music for the time being. I apologize for that. I hope that it doesn't detract too much from the game, but you do get our voices to accompany that instead. While I talk, you go ahead and make the decisions you want on this. For this series, I will be placing ads. I've marked down the 3 different ad types that I have available to me. I don't 100% really know too much about them. For the ad video, it's placed at the end of the video. You can always skip out on it if you want. It would be nice to try to recoup some of the expenses we put onto preparing these machines, like the microphone and such. When we get enough of that, we'll start buying some other software and other materials. That would be purely for recording. What's your question? You seem like you're hesitating.
The angel icon? Is that grace or is that belief?
There's button marked icon help.
Yeah. Oh, I hovered over it. Okay, so it's the process. Okay. Well, then writing we shall do.
You know, if you weren't sure about it, you could have still kept going on.
Well, that was kind of... I was going to focus on that. Let's see. Well, we're not very sympathetic. Hold up. I don't want to be like the jerk. We're going to need it for Urban Guard.
Okay.
And some patience. We'll work on that later. Okay. We'll just never be good enough for these people.
Probably not.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Done. Okay, not doing this anymore. It's probably going to get annoying. I'd say we did pretty good.
Alright.
You don't seem so convinced. Yes, we have 2 artistry or max to artistry. I know that really bothers you.
No, whatever.
Right?
No, I don't even care.
What? Usually you care about such things.
I'm busy thinking about the content ID stuff.
Right this way, dear Sarah. Lady Pitkin will be absolutely charmed to meet you. Oh, she doesn't sound angry, and I totally did an angry voice.
Why did you try again, then?
Right this way, dear Sarah. Lady Pitkin will be absolutely charmed to meet you. Yes, Miss Minchin. Where is she taking Sarah?
Miss Minchin is showing her off to another visiting parent, or maybe a donor. I'm sure I wouldn't know.
Dear Sarah must come into the drawing room and talk to Mrs. Musgrave about India. Dear Sarah must speak French to Lady Pitkin. Her accent is so perfect. She didn't learn her French at this seminary, that's for certain. And there's nothing so clever in her knowing it. She says herself she didn't learn it at all. She's just picked it up because she always heard her papa speak it. It's simply disgusting the way Miss Minchin trots her out like an ornament.
I can't imagine being so good at anything that Miss Minchin would want to show me off, especially French.
Sarah is always imagining. She will no doubt grow up to be eccentric. There's one thing about her, though. She's never grand about herself the least bit, even though she easily might be. I believe I couldn't help being proud. Just a little, if I had so many fine things and was made such a fuss over. A little. If Miss Minchin brought you in to curtsy for a mayor's wife, you would purr, just like Tybalt. Oh, Laddie, don't be silly.
Being a cat might even be nicer than being able to speak French.
And every bit as likely for you.
Rude.
There's no use waiting here for Sara. She'll be at tea for hours, I'm sure. We may as well go on our way.
Oh, we can do it all. Oh, we gotta go back to poor Lottie, because she's like sitting there in the hallway probably still. She wants to see the doll. Okay, we're gonna go to Lottie, because it said in one of the things that like certain events you can't do after a certain point. She was the first person we met, so she's probably gonna disappear first if I don't get her.
Sara was seated comfortably in the classroom, gazing at the window and thinking. It was not that the seat itself was so comfortable. The long-form benches of the schoolroom were chosen for function and ease of use, not for gently cushioning the tender bottoms of schoolgirls. Sara's own cozy little parlor contained far more comfortable places to sit than the classroom or even the dining room at Miss Minchin's. However, sometimes a change of scenery was more conducive to clear thinking. There was something interesting about being in a classroom when all the other students had gone.
Is it still a classroom if there's no class inside it?
And yet, it was not long before someone else did enter that room. Someone who stood at the corner of Sara's vision, unwilling to speak and interrupt, but nearly bouncing on her toes from excitement.
Lottie?
After looking outside and letting her mind wander for so long, Sara's eyes seemed to view everything in the wrong colors, and Lottie's round face was overlaid with pinks and greens. She blinked a few times to clear her vision. Lottie clapped her hands together, taking this as permission to speak.
May we go and see the doll, Emily, now? And have tea?
All right.
Sara led the way up the stairs, motioning Lottie behind her to stay quiet.
We must be careful not to disturb her.
Disturb who?
If we're very lucky, you might see.
The door to Sara's room stood in front of them. Sara placed a finger over her own lips, and then to Lottie's. Only after Lottie nodded did she reach for the door.
Yes, something's going on here. I knew that. Let the record show. I said initially, something's up with that doll.
Then Sara turned the handle and threw it wide open. Its opening revealed the room quite neat and quiet. A fire gently burning in the grate, and a wonderful doll sitting in a chair by it, apparently reading a book.
Either Sarah's really weird about how she leaves her room, or this just got weird. Oh, she got back to her seat before we could see her. Of course, they always do. They are as quick as lightning.
Lottie looked from Sara to the doll, and back again.
Can she walk?
Yes, at least I believe she can. Ah, there's something going on here. Yes, at least I believe she can. I believe dolls can do things they will not let us know about. Like kill people. Perhaps, really, Emily can read and talk and walk. But she will only do it when people are out of the room. That is her secret. You see, if people knew that dolls could do things, they would make them work. So perhaps they have promised each other to keep it a secret. If you stay in the room, Emily will just sit there and stare. But if you go out, she'll begin to read perhaps, or go and look out of the window. Then if she heard either of us coming, she would just run back and jump into her chair and pretend she had been there all the time.
Lottie's eyes were magnified enormously as she took in this bewitching new concept. It was a delightful thought. However, Lottie was one of the youngest students at Miss Minchin's seminary, and as such, had experience in being told things by older girls that might not be entirely true.
Sara, does she really walk? Do you truly believe it?
I pretend that I believe she can, and that makes it seem as if it were true.
So it's not true.
When you suppose things, when you pretend them with great vigor, that makes them almost real. If you imagine for yourself that there are fairies in the London sky, If you stare up into the sky thinking about fairies and looking very hard for them, you might almost catch a glimpse of one. And you're not sure what you saw. Was it real or wasn't it? Were you pretending? Was it a dream or a vision? Did you actually see anything at all? You know that you were pretending, so it's not so terrible if you didn't see anything. But maybe, just maybe, you were right all along. Sometimes stories do come true. Do you understand?
I think so.
Would you like to hold Emily?
Oh, may I? May I really? She is beautiful.
Emily was put into her arms.
For the last time.
Lottie smiled down at the doll, cradling her gently and fingering her fair curls.
They must move very fast to get out of sight when we come in, mustn't they? I wonder if we could learn to move like lightning.
Oh, we couldn't do it. You see, it's a kind of magic.
Maybe people can have magic too.
That is nice to pretend. But whether we can have magic or not, we can certainly have tea. Well, that's not how I thought that was going to go.
What?
That was a lot more creepy. Stay together now, girls. Keep in line and don't step in any puddles. Just because the church is over is no excuse to soil your nice dresses. The air smells very different when it has rained. It still smells like London. There are too many people and chimneys and horses. I keep lavender sachets in my room so I can smell the gardens, even when I'm away from home. They're not much. My Aunt Eliza sent me the flowers. I stitched them myself. We have lavender in India, too. Oh, but isn't lavender an English flower? I thought everything in India would be saffron and spices. Perhaps the British soldiers brought lavender with them so they could smell the gardens, too. Do you think that soldiers could be homesick? Of course. Soldiers must be very brave and bear all sorts of dangers and hardships, but that doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. And we must be brave, too, even when we are far from the homes and the people that we love.
A carriage passed alongside Miss Minchin's students as they walked, seemingly packed to the walls with children. 8 of them, siblings all, and such a giggling mass of blonde curls and rosy cheeks as Sarah had never seen before. Their merriment was infectious, and Sarah found that a smile had come unexpectedly to her face. As such, it came as a slight shock when the carriage moved along and revealed a sight previously hidden on the other side of the street. A little beggar child in a heap of rags, too dirty for Sarah to tell if it was a boy or a girl. Pricked by the sight, Sarah stepped out of line and carried her little coin purse to the child.
Sarah, wait, where are you going? Here's a 6pence. Go and buy yourself something warm.
She hurried back into formation, but not before her steps were noticed by Miss Minchin.
Sarah Crewe, you must stay in line. If you go rushing off, you will put yourself at risk. I should not like to tell your father you were struck down by a cab horse in the road. I only wish to... Generosity is a virtue, but it is not wise or safe to come in close contact with creatures of the streets. You must be careful to clean yourself thoroughly when we return to the school. Yes, Miss Minchin.
Sarah looked back, but the beggar child had already disappeared from sight.
How strange that one child should be hungry and dirty on the streets, while another rides in a fine carriage and knows nothing but joy and laughter. And all these things happen quite by accident, because of the way that we are born. I did a good deed.
Okay.
Okay.
You also probably picked up fleas.
Really? Just because he lives on the street does not mean he has fleas. Or she. I think it's a he, though. If this game is worth its salt, that's going to come back and give me some kind of bonus later.
It's not like you went out and did anything.
I did. I said, work on your diary and you'll do a good deed, and she did. Okay, so my belief has been used up. That's my really low one. My vigor's low. Let's walk a little bit. We still get our belief back up. Okay. Feeling it. Let's go. Done. I'd really like to get the one with the sympathy too. Would be nice. But of course, that's not going to happen. I'm going to get artistry. Hey! Thank you! Hey! I'm feeling pretty nice. I'm pretty good.
Even from a distance, there was no mistaking Lottie's shrill little voice.
I want to hold the kitty!
Don't be ridiculous. Sarah came into the room to find Lavinia perched primly in a window seat, looking down at the smaller child whose lip was beginning to wobble.
Tybalt is in my lap, and he is perfectly content there.
Listen, you can hear him purr. That is because I am stroking him, and he likes me.
I want to hold the kitty.
Keep her sticky little fingers away from his fur. Lottie's brow furrowed in fierce determination. Ignoring Lavinia's commands, she reached out to pick up the cat. Lavinia slapped Lottie's hand away.
Oh, my eyes got big.
The sudden movement jostled Tybalt out of his comfortable doze. With a parting squeeze of his claws, he left from Lavinia's legs and hurried out of the room. Now look what you've done, you little brat! He scratched me, and he's damaged my dress.
It scratched you because you're mean. You wouldn't even let me touch it. It isn't fair, it isn't.
A cat is not a rag doll. You cannot snatch and tug it as you please, or it will bite your hand. Is that too difficult for a child of 8 to understand?
If she's supposed to be 8, then why was she wobbling along with, like, baby legs and falling on her butt? I find that a little bit weird. I thought she was younger than that.
I don't know. Maybe she is, maybe she was spying on you and fell over.
Maybe. She cannot help being younger any more than we can help being older. If she is 8, she is 8. But she'll be 9 the next year, and 10 the year after that, and in 12 years she'll be 20, and that is quite grand, because I can do math.
Dear me, how we can calculate.
I want to be 20.
You will be when you are, and you won't be while you aren't, so there is no reason to want or not to want.
No, no, no!
Be quiet, or I shall slap your face.
You mustn't.
Lottie looked into Lavinia's blazing eyes, then ran from the room, wailing at the unfairness of it all.
You ought not to baby her, Sarah. She must learn that she can't have everything her own way.
What?
Yeah, I think she needs to learn that too.
Privately, Sarah thought that Lottie was not the only student at the school who might need to learn that lesson.
Okay. Oh, I can get her. I can go help her. Oh, what do I don't want other friends to stop liking me because I help her too much. Alright.
Sarah's room was a bright little jewel in the sometimes drab nest that was Miss Minchin's select seminary. It remained a bright jewel even when Sarah was not inside it, which could be seen now by the small figure that crept in through the open door.
She's a thief! I should have picked someone else.
Lottie closed the door behind her, then climbed up onto Sarah's bed. She placed her legs just a little bit apart and carefully patted down her skirt to ensure that the petticoats were shown exactly as much and as little as intended.
I'm a dolly.
Then she laid her arms out at her side, tilted back her head, and waited. A minute later, Sarah and her maid Mariette entered the room.
A flower that looks the same upside down as it does right side up, but I can't think of...
Her voice paused briefly as she came into the room, and Lottie knew she must have been noticed. Quickly, she closed her eyes. She would never be able to keep a straight face if she looked at Sarah. After that moment, Sarah continued.
My goodness, Emily must have been busy today. I think she was in such a hurry to get back to her seat when we came in that she didn't quite reach the same position.
I see, mademoiselle.
Will you tell us what you've been up to, Emily? No? You are very good at keeping secrets. I think we ought to change her clothes and get her ready for bed. She must be very tired.
Do not forget the new doll.
Lottie fought not to giggle, imagining Sarah picking her up next and changing her clothes like a doll. But she had to keep her eyes shut, or she would spoil the joke.
Oh, I'm sure she'll be fine. Dolls have to know how to be still for very long periods of time. A doll in a shop window where everyone can see her must stand for hours and hours without even blinking.
I would not like to try it standing so long.
Here, take Emily's shoes and put them away safely. It would be terrible if she lost them. She needs to be able to run quickly.
Yes, mademoiselle.
Lottie began to realize that no one intended to pay any attention to her. Sarah and Mariette continued to fuss over Emily, adjusting her nightgown and her pillows. The new doll was utterly neglected. Lottie couldn't help herself any longer. She whined.
What was that? Oh, Lottie, when did you come in? I thought you were a doll.
I don't want to be a doll. Being a doll is boring.
Well, I think it's interesting enough for a doll to be a doll, but it's not so much fun for a girl to be one. Don't you think, Mariette?
As you say, mademoiselle. Humph. Would you like to sit in front of the mirror while I brush your hair, mademoiselle?
Oh, I don't think so. Not by the mirror. You see, it is nice to sit and think while you run the brush through my hair. Sometimes I remember stories or think of things I want to say to someone else. Other times it helps me relax. It must be like that for Tybalt when someone is petting him. If I were looking into the mirror, then the Sarah in the mirror would be looking back at me, and we should have to pay attention to each other, else we might be thought to be impolite.
Mariette laughed in the back of her throat.
That is as you wish. I had thought of doing something different with your hair, and if you could see, then you would know more quickly if you thought yes or no, and I could change it if you did not like it.
Well, I think it's better to look at it when it's finished. If you stop reading a book in the middle, you might have a wrong idea about what it's all about.
Then I will show you when I am done.
Mariette is so kind. I would be terribly lonely in these rooms without her. This school's full of other girls, but they are, like me, guests in this mansion. We live in the same house, but they are not part of my household. Mariette is the only person who belongs to me. It is nice to sit and think while she brushes my hair. And she has a better way with it than my old Aya did. But I do miss my papa so. If he were here, if he were coming to visit me as some girls' parents do, how happy my life would be. Wonder where my papa is now. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak.
No, it is good, mademoiselle. You should speak your thoughts. Your father sailed many weeks ago. By now he is in India, yes? Home and safe, and thinking how different the house seems without your footsteps.
Oh, I don't want to think of him sad and lonely.
It is right that he misses you, and that you miss him. That is how things should be, but that does not mean your life is nothing but sadness, does it?
No, I do not think I am melancholy. I would not wish to be. I enjoy my books and my friends.
So, you see, your papa, he will be lonely, but he will also feel other things. He will live his life, but he will also think of you. I believe you will hear from him soon.
Oh, I hope you are right. No, you must be right. My papa will write me letters. And as soon as the ships carry them, I will treasure his words. And I do hope, that my papa has a friend to care for him, as Mariette cares for me. Okay. But belief is gone again. I believe in grace and vigor. Done.
It was a productive Wednesday.
Yeah. And Friday.
Yeah, you only get 3 knowledge and 3 belief this week.
Well,
In fact, you know what? I think your knowledge is max now, so you might not even have gotten 3 knowledge.
what can I say? I'm a winner.
Were you thinking about your decisions as you were making them?
Yeah, I was. I was trying to get more belief. I mean, there's no other way to really do that.
While Sarah was walking through the school, she heard a great commotion coming from a nearby room. The first high-pitched shriek made her startle, concerned that one of the younger girls might have injured herself. Sarah was a quiet and solemn girl herself, but made no judgment against those whose temperaments led them to cry out loudly when they were in pain. However, the wailing went on, more angry than miserable, and the voice was recognizably Lottie's. Sarah came closer and began to make out the accompaniment of frustrated adult that had been drowned out by childish tantrum.
What are you crying for? There's nothing wrong with you.
Oh, I haven't got any mama.
Stop crying, for heaven's sake.
I haven't got any mama.
You ought to be whipped. You shall be whipped if you don't hush, you naughty child.
Lottie wailed more loudly than ever. Miss Minchin emerged from the room, her hands pressed to the sides of her head, and paused when she saw Sarah lingering outside.
Oh, dear Sarah.
Miss Minchin's attempt at producing a friendly smile was not at all convincing. Lottie's roars continued unabated, and each burst of sound made Miss Minchin's shoulders twitch.
I stopped because I knew it was Lottie, and I thought, perhaps, just perhaps, I could make her be quiet. May I try, Miss Minchin? If you can quiet that, you are a clever child. Dreadful thing. We may not be able to keep her. Makes it sound like we have to, put her down or something. She's not a dog.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. Hi. But you are clever in everything, my dear. I dare say you can manage her. Go in.
When Sarah entered the room, Lottie was lying upon the floor, screaming and kicking her small fat legs violently. Sarah stood by the howling, furious child for a few moments and looked down at her without saying anything. Then, she sat down flat on the floor beside her and waited. Except for Lottie's angry screams, the room was quite quiet. This was a new state of affairs for Lottie, who was accustomed to hearing other people protest and implore and command and coax her by turns. To find that the only person near her did not seem to mind in the least how she kicked and screamed was unusual, and made it necessary for her to pause her sobbing in order to see what was going on. She opened her tight-shut, streaming eyes to see who this person was, and found that it was only another little girl, but it was the one who owned Emily and all the nice things. Sarah looked at Lottie quite curiously, but said nothing. Lottie sucked in a gulp of air, but the noise she made sounded rather half-hearted. I haven't any mama.
Neither have I.
Lottie blinked rapidly at this unexpected answer. Her legs and arms ceased their kicking and lay flat against the floor.
Where is your mama?
She went to heaven, but I'm sure she comes out sometimes to see me, though I don't see her. So does yours. Perhaps they can both see us now. Perhaps they are both in this room.
Here! Lottie sat bolt upright and looked around. Seeing nothing, her face began to scrunch up again.
We can't see the people who live in heaven, even when they come to visit us. They travel like wind or sunlight. You can only feel them for a moment if they touch you, and then they're gone. They can go anywhere in an instant, but most of the time they stay up above. Their land is full of lilies, fields and fields of lilies, and when the soft wind blows over them, it wafts the scent of them into the air. And everybody always breathes it because that soft wind is always blowing. Wind and sunlight and the streets are always shining. And little children run about in the lily fields and gather armfuls of them, and laugh and make little wreaths to wear on their heads, or spin cloaks and dresses of soft lily petals. The petals never go dry or brown, but when the children grow tired of them, they toss the petals into the air and they turn to clouds.
Lottie had by now quite forgotten to cry, and was leaning forward, hanging on every word that Sara spoke.
In that shining city, people are never tired, however far they walk. They can float anywhere they like. And there are walls made of pearl and gold all around the city, but they are all low enough for the people to go and lean on them, and look down on the earth and smile. On those walls, sometimes they dance down to visit us. Other times they whisper beautiful messages into the wind and hope that someday we will hear them.
No, I want to go there. I haven't any mama here.
Sara saw the danger signal and took hold of Lottie's hand with a coaxing little laugh.
I will be your mama in this school. We will play that you are my little girl, and Emily shall be your sister.
Shall she?
Yes, let us go and tell her, and then I will wash your face and brush your hair, and both of us will have a little bit more fun.
You're scared of the doll, but you keep picking the person who wants the doll.
Well, I feel like I need to finish her story before I go to someone else's, but at the same time, I don't know that anyone's going to end. So I want to go back to Ermengarde's story, but it's not going to go so well. So I don't have 6 beliefs. Maybe I should do hers, because that's going to get rid of some of my stuff. That way when I get that, when I'm working on belief.
Yeah, if you had done that earlier, you might have gotten some more knowledge. Maybe some more sympathy.
Yeah.
However, you are low in belief. So if you wanted to reach Ermengarde, you should consider saving some of that belief.
I'm not wait to go here and talk to Grace over here.
That's not her name.
I know, but I'm calling her Grace for the moment.
Okay, well, whatever you want, but you should probably consider your stockpiles of currency.
Yeah, I want to talk to her before it's too late.
You should also consider which characters you like the most.
I like Ermengarde better. She's nice. I think she likes the animals. I like that.
Okay.
So, if I want to get to her, I would choose this, except that then I'd be using belief and I wouldn't have enough probably next week to talk to her. So I'll do this one because it's gonna... I'm not talking to her. I don't care what that's about. So I'll do this one because it's the only one that's not going to expend my belief.
Alright.
Sara, Mama, can you tell me more about your mama? What was she like?
You mean before or after she turned into a doll? Oh.
Sara set her cup down.
I never met her. Not really. So I only know what my papa and his friends have told me.
You never met her?
No, she died when I was born. Do you remember your mother?
A little bit, but not very much. I'm afraid I'll forget.
You must have been very young. No one expects you to remember everything perfectly.
But isn't it bad if all I have is a little, and I lose it?
You don't have to remember it all yourself. You can ask other people who knew your mother to tell you about her.
Sara had a faraway little smile on her face, the sort that she developed sometimes when she was supposing a story.
My mother was from France. She had long dark hair and a sparkling laugh. That is what my papa says first caught his attention. I don't think that I have a sparkling laugh. I believe I am more like my papa that way. I should like to hear someone else sparkle.
Do I have a sparkly laugh?
I don't know. What does it sound like when you laugh?
Lottie's eyes swept back and forth, and her little forehead wrinkled.
I can't laugh with you looking at me.
Well, maybe I will hear it someday when I am not looking.
Tell me more. Was your mama beautiful and perfect?
I don't think any person is perfect, but everyone says she is beautiful and calm and kind.
Lottie fidgeted in her seat. She scooped up one of the little sugared biscuits and popped it into her mouth, all in one go. That required a good minute of chewing before she could speak again.
Do you ever think about if you'll be like your mama when you grow up?
Not very often, no.
In truth, while Sara was certainly aware that she had once had a mother, and her natural curiosity had brought about a few questions and answers, it was not a matter that greatly occupied her thoughts. Never having known her, Sara had never had reason to miss her. Her absence was not a cause of sadness or reflection. It was nothing like the pain of being separated from her beloved papa.
I suppose that I must become like her in some ways, as children do.
But she died. When she became a mama, she died.
Well then, I am already different because I am already Emily's mother, and yours as well.
Reminded of her duties, Sara fetched a handkerchief and brushed at Lottie's face.
You are getting crumbs everywhere. You should be careful not to get your dress dirty. Your sister Emily is very good at keeping her clothes clean. You should look to her as your example. She is a model daughter. That is what Miss Minchin always calls people, a model or a show.
Lottie could not help but giggle.
Girls, gather round if you please. We'll be welcoming a special dance instructor today. Oh, I should have danced. Who is visiting us from France. She'll be leading you in exercises to increase your grace and posture. Go and change into your leotard-style dancing costumes.
She swept off to her office, and the girls clustered eagerly together.
A special dance instructor! Do you suppose she might be from the Ballet de Opera de Paris?
The Ballet of Opry?
The Paris Opera Ballet, of course. The absolute birthplace of romantic ballet. And they go all the way back to the court of the Sun King.
Oh. I'm not so fond of ballet as you are.
No one is as fond of ballet as Jessie is. It is a sickness with her.
I wonder if there's really a sickness that can make you like one thing or one person more than another. And if there were, would anyone wish to be cured?
Such things you imagine.
In any event, it might not be ballet. She is a special instructor after all. Perhaps we will be permitted to practice social dances, perhaps even the waltz.
My father says the waltz is shocking.
Watching you attempt to perform it, no doubt would be. If we are allowed the waltz, I will be dancing with Jessie.
Oh.
Perhaps we had better go and get our costumes. Ermengarde is very sensible.
It took only as little praise as that to make poor Miss St. John look pleased. The dancing lessons did not progress quite as anyone expected. I do not see how this can be described as dancing.
Lottie's having fun.
It is preparation for dancing. We are learning to stretch and relax our bodies so that we may move more beautifully. It's French.
Sara, is this the way things are usually done in France? I have never asked Mariette whether she took dancing lessons.
I want to walk on my hands.
Leave your hands on the floor long enough, and Ermengarde will trot on them for you. Ah, Jessie, be careful. You are tickling me.
The instructor said it was imperative that we rub deeply to warm our muscles.
To speak of muscle upon a lady is very unseemly.
Your hands are very strong, Ermengarde. Oh, did I hurt you? No, not a bit. It feels nice. It is a little like having my hair brushed. It makes me feel like a cat, being petted.
I want to be a cat. I want to dance like a cat. Cats don't dance.
They dance at the court of the king of cats. How do they dance, Sarah? Do they stand on their hind legs? Well? Girls, cease chattering and get ready for your lessons.
Yes, Miss Minchin.
Alright, that was weeks 4 through 6 during this play session. Tonight is May 29th, May 28th, 2016. It's 10:16 p.m. We're going to have to call it a night for now. Fortunately, the music thing is an issue. Hanako Games on their website says it's okay to place ad-driven monetization on their plays of their games, but the music they seem to have used belongs to, I think the gentleman's name was Francesco. I looked and I as opposed to Emerge, which I think is just potentially a manipulation. I think this one actually does belong to the guy. So and the YouTube audio beta system of removing tracks did not for some reason work on the first episode. So I'm not sure how many episodes I will have to do with no audio. Maybe all of them. It may be best to go for consistency. I don't know. But that should be it for now. Thank you very much for watching Trans play A Little Lily Princess. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Right this way, dear Sarah. Lady Pitkin will be absolutely charmed to meet you. Oh, she doesn't sound angry, and I totally did an angry voice.
Why don't you try again, then?
Right this way, dear Sarah. Lady Pitkin will be absolutely charmed to meet you.
Do not forget the new doll.
Hold on, I can't remember how her French accent goes.
I don't know, it sounds like a French man more than anything, though.